This is the review for the Chapter 8 Honors Pre-Algebra test. This is Form 3A, and you will take version 3B, which is very similar to 3A for your actual test. So please make sure you go through these answers, not only checking them, but checking your work to make sure that you understand how to do all the problems before you take the test. For number 1, this is a one-step equation. To get the variable or isolate the variable n, we need to get rid of the negative 3.7 coefficient. So the opposite of multiplying by negative 3.7 is to divide by negative 3.7. That cancels out, equaling 1n equals, and then we have a decimal in a fraction, so one way to do that would be, of course, to use a calculator. Another way is to multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 10. So we have 333 divided by negative 37, and that does come out to be a nice integer, negative 9. So number 1 is n equals negative 9. For number 2, again, we're trying to isolate that variable, so let's get rid of the 5/10, the negative 5/10. So let's multiply by negative 10 over 5 so that the 10s and the 5s cancel out. And if I multiply by negative 10 over 5 on the right, the 5s cancel out, and then we also can simplify here by 1/2. Half of 10 is 5 and half of 32 is 16. Don't forget that negative sign there. So the final answer should be x equals negative 5/16. For number 3, we're going to distribute the 3/4 to the x and the 8. So we get 3/4 x. And remember that 8 is 8 over 1. Whoops, 8 over 1. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. 2 times 3 is 6. So 3/4 x plus 6 equals 6 and 3/16. And you might be thinking about changing 6 and 3/16 to improper, but if I minus 6 from both sides, what I end up with is 3/4 x, 6 minus 6 is 0, equals 3/16. To isolate the variable, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, also known as dividing by 3/4. So that isolates the x, and then I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal on the right hand side, canceling out the 3's. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 16 4 times. We're left with 1/4. So x is equal to 1/4. For number 8, I have variables on both sides, so I need to pick a side. Since this negative 8 is already on the right, I'm going to get rid of the 3.2h by subtracting from both sides. So I get 2.5h equals negative 8. And when I divide by 2.5, we get h equals negative 8 over 2.5. And again, you could use a calculator, but in this case, we're just going to work it out as h equals negative 80 over 25. And then we can say 25 goes into 80 3 times with 5 left over. That's a negative, don't forget that. And then we can simplify that to h equals negative 3 and 1/5. For number 5, we have variables on both sides and constants on both sides. So I'm going to first of all take care of the 2/5 x by minusing it from this side, minusing it from the right side. I'm going to come over here where I have some space. 2/5 x minus 2/5 x is 0. So we have negative 16 equals 1/5 x minus 14. Then I'm going to add 14 to both sides to get negative 2 equals 1/5 x. To get rid of the 1/5, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal so that the 5 and the 1 cancel out. Multiply by 5 over 1, and I should get x equals negative 10. And scrolling down here, For number 6, we are going to, first of all, have to solve for x in this equation. And so to get rid of the 4/5, we're going to multiply by 5/4, 5/4, multiply by 5/4. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 16 4 times. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20. So if x equals negative 20, x right here is negative 20. Negative 2 times negative 20 is 40, and 40 minus 15 is 25. For number 7, the area of Lake Michigan is 9,420 square miles, less than the area of Lake Superior. Lake Superior is about 1/5 the size of the Caspian Sea. The Caspian Sea is 150,000 square miles. Write and solve an equation to find the approximate area of Lake Michigan. And this is where I'm actually going to start, because when you're doing equation story problems, you always want to know what x equals. So in this case, I'm going to say x is equal to the area of Lake Michigan. Okay, so if x is the area of Lake Michigan, then Lake Superior is going to be the area of Lake Michigan plus 9,420. So I'm using this first sentence. Lake Michigan is that many square miles less than Lake Superior. So if I take Lake Michigan and add 9,240, I should get the area of Lake Superior. And then Lake Superior is 1/5 the size of the Caspian Sea. So 1/5 of 150,000. Well, if the Caspian Sea is 150,000, 1/5 of that should be 30,000. So I just took 150,000 divided by 5 to get that 30,000. And that's equal to Lake Superior, which is x plus 9420. So x plus 9420. So to find out x, which is Lake Michigan, we're going to subtract 9420 from both sides, 9420, and we should get our Lake Michigan area. So 10, 9, 10, 9, 10. So we should have 0, 8, 5, 0, 2. Oops, sorry, 20,580. So Lake Michigan should be 20,580 square miles. Yep. Oops. That's for number 8. Number 9. Santosh spent $200 before tax on a DVD player and DVDs. The player cost $120. New DVDs cost $15 and used DVDs cost $5. Santosh purchased the same number of new CDs and used DVDs. Write and solve an equation to find the number of each type of DVDs that Santosh purchased. So again, we're going to start at the end to find the number of each type of DVD. So we're going to say x equals type of each DVD. And if we knew the number of DVDs, we would say that $15 times the number of new DVDs plus $5 times the number of used DVDs, and we are going to add in the cost of the player, which is $120, and we're going to set that equal to the total that Santosh spent, which was $200. Now just take a look at that for a second, how we set that up. $15 for new, $5 for old, $120 for the player, and then $200 total. So let's simplify this by combining like terms. That's 20x plus 120 equals 200. Minus 120 from both sides, and we get 20x equals 80. Divide by 20, divide by 20, x equals 4. So it says find the number of each type of DVD. So the answer to number 8 would actually be 4 old and 4 new DVDs. Number 9, 4 times the sum of 3 consecutive integers is 180. What are the 3 integers? Now you could do guess and check on this, but because this chapter is all about equations, I am going to set up an equation for the problem. So 3 consecutive integers are like 3, 4, and 5, or 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I'm going to say that the first integer is x, the next integer is x plus 1, and the one after that is x plus 2. Just think about that. If x was 10, 11 would be 10 plus 1, and 12 would be 10 plus 2. So I'm going to say that 4 times the sum of x plus 1 plus x plus 2 is equal to 180. Now let's simplify in the parentheses here. That's a total of 1, 2, 3 x's. So I'm going to bring this down here. 4 times the quantity, 3x. Then I have a 1 and a 2 here, which is plus 3. And I'm going to set that equal to 180. If I distribute, I get 12x plus 12 equals 180. Minus 12 minus 12, we get 12x equals 168. Divide by 12, divide by 12. 168 divided by 12 is 14. So the 3 numbers are 14, 15, and 16. So if I take 14 plus 15 plus 16, I get 45. And if I multiply that by 4 times that, I get 180. So the answer to number 9 is 14, 15, and 16. For number 10, there's an equation 0.5 times the quantity x minus q equals 1. And the solution is x equals 2. So what I did is I put the 2 in for x, and then I distributed 0.5 times 2, or 1/2 of 2 is 1, minus 0.5 times negative q, so 0.5q equals 1. So I wanted to find out what this q was all about. So I took care of the positive one by subtracting 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. And then I subtract 1 on the right-hand side. And what you have left is negative 0.5q equals 1 minus 1, which is 0. Well, in order for the product to be 0, one of the factors on the multiplication problem has to be 0. In this case, negative 0.5 times 0 equals 0. So what must be true about q? Q has to be equal to 0 in order for 2 to be a solution. So a little bit tricky on number 10, but if you kind of break it down by substituting in that 2 and then simplifying it, you find out that in order for that answer to be 0, q has to be 0. For number 11, we have the sides of a triangle, which are 3x and 15 and 4x, 4 times the quantity x minus 1. So that's actually 4x minus 4. And when you add up all of the 3 sides, the perimeter is 60. And it's asking for the length of the longest side. So let's take 3x plus the 15 plus the 4x minus 4 and set that equal to 60. And when we combine like terms, 3x plus 4x is 7x, and then 15 minus 4 is plus 11 equals 60 minus 11 minus 11, and we get 7x equals 49. Divide by 7, divide by 7, x equals 7. Oops. Which means that this side right here is 21. This side right here is 7 minus 1, which is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. And of course, this side is 15. So the longest side of the triangle is 24 centimeters. Scrolling down here, write an inequality to represent the statement. Shauna's earnings at $12 per hour were less than 150. So I'm going to say $12 times x is x number of hours was less than $150. Okay? Make sure you pay attention to the directions. Sometimes it just says to write an inequality. Sometimes it says to write and solve. In this case, just writing it. Number 13, is the inequality true or false when g is 6? 6 times negative 2.8 is negative 16.8. Minus 2 more would be negative 18.8. And negative 18.8 is less than negative 18. So it would be true. Negative 18.8 is less than negative 18. Make sure on the test when they say to explain that you put something saying that it's true or false because of this or that. It says on number 14 to graph the inequality on the number line. I usually like to flip this around because I like my variable first, but that's just a preference here. If I do put z first, I have to make sure and flip the inequality sign. So we have z is greater than negative 4. That's an open circle at negative 4 with an arrow going to the right. And for number 15, when a is negative 4, if I put in negative 4 right here for a, negative 20 divided by negative 4 is 5, positive 5, and 5 minus 5 is less than negative 2. Is 0 less than negative 2? No, that's not true, so false for number 15. Number 16, I want to get the b isolated, so I've got to get rid of the negative 3/8. I'm going to multiply by negative 8/3 to get rid of that. But because I divided by a negative, or in this case multiplied by the reciprocal negative, I do need to flip this sign. So I get 5/6 is less than or equal to b. That would be an acceptable answer. 5/6 is less than or equal to b, or you could write b is greater than or equal to 5/6. And actually, I take back. That whole thing is wrong because I forgot to multiply by negative 8/3 on the other side. So let's do some canceling here. 2 goes into 8. Sorry, let me rewrite the problem there. Negative 8/3 times 5/6. 2 goes into 6/3. 2 goes into 8/4 times. Negative 4 times 5 is negative 20/9. So we could say negative 20/9 is less than or equal to b, or b is greater than or equal to negative 20/9. So pay attention to those negatives. Pay attention to performing the operation on both sides of the inequality sign. Number 18, Jared budgeted for $1,250 for the vacation. He already spent $439 in airfare. How much money is left? So we have 439 plus x, and then this is an inequality, so I'm not going to put an equal sign. We're going to say less than or equal to 1,250. And then it does say to write and solve. So if I take away 439 from both sides, we have that Jared has less than or equal to 1,250 minus 439. He has less than or equal to $811 to spend. So X less than or equal to $811. For number 19, I've tried the problem several different ways and I cannot come up with the answer on the answer sheet. So if you can come up with the answer on the answer sheet, which is 532 books, please let me know how you did that, because I'm coming up with a different answer. So there's the way I did the problem. I took $8 times X number of books, take away $3.25 per book for the printer, and then take away $300, and that should be greater than or equal to $2,000. So I added 300 to both sides, and I got 4.75. X is greater than or equal to 2,300. Divide by 4.75. Divide by 4.75. And I got that it should be X is greater than or equal to 484. For number 20, you're going to write and solve an inequality to represent the situation given, and you need to know that it costs $25,000 a day to run the park, and an average attendance is 1,250, and we also want to profit at least $30,000 a 30-day month. So we're actually going to take $30,000 and divide it by 30 to get an average profit of $1,000 a day. So what we're going to do is we're going to take $1,250 times X number of tickets, take away the $25,000 it takes to run the park, and set that greater than or equal to 1,000. When you add 25,000 to both sides, you get 1,250x is greater than or equal to 26,000, and divide by 1250, divide by 1250, x is greater than or equal to $20.80. And so how much should you charge for attendance? For admission, you should charge $20.80. I hope this review helps you prepare for the Chapter 8 test. If there's any problems that you don't understand, please let me know before you take the test so that we can go over them. Thank you.